Hey YouTube, it's Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we're here talking about Dynasty, and this is the perfect time to talk about it. This is where everything flourishes. This is when Dynasty is at its best, is when it's off-season, rookies, everything we're talking about there. So let's jump right into this, and we'll get started. All right, guys, so I'm going to talk about my favorite running backs right now that I am buying or selling for this offseason going into Dynasty. Look, a lot of rookies coming in. You're either rebuilding, you're either in a win now mode. So this might change how you perceive who these guys should be as far as who you should sell, who you should buy. But I think about a lot of things when I talk about, I look at our rebuild or, again, buying, if you're in a win now situation, right? So I have a couple different leagues that are either win now or they are in a rebuild. So I look at it a lot. So as far as my favorite running backs that I am buying right now, first one I want to talk about is going to be Michael Carter. Look, Michael Carter, there's a lot of hesitation right now. He is right now early ranked in Dynasty running back 23, which isn't horrible. I probably rank him a little bit higher. Here's the problem that I think a lot of people have with concerns with Michael Carter. The Jets have a lot of first-round picks, a lot of second-day picks. There's a lot of concern that there's a possibility they draft a running back, which could possibly get into Michael Carter's shares. For me, I'm not overly concerned with him. Michael Carter is somebody that you might have a little bit of trouble getting without giving up a little bit, but I like him a lot. Prior to his injury, he was averaging 12.78 points in PPR. And again, the flashes are there. I think he's got the potential to be their number one running back, and I think you could get him at a good price. I got him in two of my leagues right now. One, like I said, is a rebuild and one is not, but I love this guy in New York. I think he's going to be fantastic, so he's definitely one I am absolutely buying if you can. Another running back that I'm buying right now is going to be J.K. Dobbins. Look, he's ranked in Dynasty at running back 15, which I think is actually a perfect ranking for him. He is in a run-heavy offense with the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, he isn't going to be the RB1 as far as every down back. He is going to share with Gus Edwards and, of course, Lamar Jackson. But what I like about him is that in the last 6 games of 2020, again, remember, you have to understand, he was obviously injured last year, which is, I think, where people are kind of might be able to trade him away. Again, very tough. But the last 6 games that he had in 2020, he averaged 16.95 points in PPR, which is huge. And he had a touchdown in every single one of those last 6 games. So he is a goal line beast. I think he's going to be one of those guys you want to absolutely get out. And of course, coming back for a lower, leg injury, that's where a lot of people have concern, but I like J.K. Dobbins. I ended up having to give a first round pick for him, but the value is it's too, I'd rather have him. Just because I believe in his capability. I know there's obviously some really solid running backs, but I didn't have 101 to get like a Breece Hall. So I felt this was a good pick that I can go after. Another running back is going to be Elijah Mitchell. Look, obviously you see the trend. I'm picking a lot of guys that were either rookies or maybe a year or two in. Look, Elijah Mitchell is part of a 49ers offense that Kyle Shanahan runs everybody. He runs me. He runs his grandma. I mean, everybody is good behind that offense. What I thought was a little different is he is ranked right now running back 20. Elijah Mitchell was averaging 13.7 points as a PPR, and he wasn't always in there, right? He had a lot of injuries, which was a little bit of concern, but I will say this. There is no Trey Sermon talk. Like, it's Elijah Mitchell. He is the running back that they absolutely love, and that's who they're putting as their RB1 going into the season. Again, a lot of injuries. You might be able to get him based off that. Maybe try to pitch that a little bit. And there is still Sermon in the backfield. So, again, you might be able to get him at a deal. But, again, Elijah Mitchell is one of those guys that I'm absolutely trying to go after. Hands down, he's one of those guys I feel is going to have a really solid future in the 49ers. Last guy I want to talk about is going to be Rashad Penny. Obviously, Rashad Penny has had a lot of injuries in his career. He is obviously not as young as, J.K. Dobbins or Elijah Mitchell or something like that. But right now he's ranked early running back 33 in Dynasty. He did come back from injury last season and they just ran the ball. In those 4 games, or excuse me, the last 5 games, he had 4 100 rushing yards of those last 5 games. He was averaging 21 points in PPR, 21 points. He was a beast the last 4 games. So if you were able to pick him up last year or the year before that, I think you actually struck some gold. I do see him as the RB1 with obviously Chris Carson behind them. There's a lot of uncertainty, I think, with Russell Wilson gone, and who knows what they're doing with the quarterback position. But if they do happen to keep Drew Lock as their starter, I see actually a lot of both Chris Carson and Rashad Penny. I like Rashad Penny a lot more, and I think you could actually get him at a pretty good price. All right. Now, as far as running backs that I'm selling, always, again, nothing against these running backs. They're solid running backs as far as especially redraft. And I think even Dynasty, if you're in a win now mentality that, hey, this is my year or maybe next couple years. So the first guy I have is going to be Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones right now is running back 17 in Dynasty. Again, his age, his money is going to play a factor if the Packers decide to obviously keep him. And then the fact that you've got an A.J. Dillon right behind him, nipping at his heels. A.J. Dillon looked really good last year, actually to the point where I had Aaron Jones in one of my redraft. That made me a little nervous. I'm just going to be upfront. That made me a little nervous because he was taking over a lot of passes. He was doing a lot. Losing Devontae Adams kind of worries me a little bit. Plus, I think, again, A.J. Dillon, somebody that they absolutely love. And I think, again, contract-wise, might push Aaron Jones out and obviously increase A.J. Dillon's play. But I think you can get him you might get some big returns. Again, reach out to teams that you are, know are absolutely trying to win. I think you might be able to get a good return into Aaron Jones. And I think he's one I would absolutely sell. Another running back that I'm selling right now, which is also what New York is doing. The Giants are absolutely selling. It's going to be Saquon Barkley. Barkley right now is RB12. A lot of that has to do with his age, still being fairly young and such a great talent. His injuries obviously have hurt him a lot, which I think is why New York is looking to possibly trade him. And rumor was, I think it was in Indianapolis when they were at the scouting combine, I think a lot of teams were kind of inquiring. And there was rumors of 3rd round, 4th round picks going after him. So nothing's been set in stone, but they are open to talks. They have not fully obviously said, yeah, anybody can get him, but he is out there. So the trade concerns are real. I think a lot of people are obviously unsure about that. Plus the injuries, he has not been 100% since he's been injured. And a lot of uncertainty in that aspect, which is why I think you could possibly, if again, you're in a win now, you might be buying him pretty cheap at this point. But if you're someone trying to rebuild, you might be able to get a little bit of something for Saquon. So that's one of those things that I think, again, think about Saquon. You might want to try to get some draft capital. There's some good running backs in this draft, and of course 2023. So he's somebody I'm getting rid of if it makes sense, right? Again, always about building your team properly. Another guy that I'm looking to get rid of is Derrick Henry. Right now, in Dynasty, he's an RB14. Obviously, in redraft, he's a top 5 running back. But with Derrick Henry, he had a foot injury, which is a big concern. He did come back in the playoffs, but he didn't look great. I think they rushed him to just try to get him into the playoff game last year. They are in a run-first team. So, again, if you can spin him, look, this is a team that absolutely loves Derrick Henry. He gets better when the season gets, grinded in there. You're talking week 13, 14, 15. I mean, that's when Derrick Henry is at his best. But again, as somebody who is possibly rebuilding and you have Derrick Henry on your roster, he's somebody that I might want to consider because you probably get a good value out of him still. Again, targeting those teams that are in a win now mode, but I think you get quite a bit back for Derrick Henry that would help build more spots, more draft capital for you. And the fact that they've got Robert Woods, I'm not saying they're going to increase passing like crazy, but that's a good wide receiver, a write-off of, AJ Brown. Nothing against Julio, but Julio, I think, is past his prime at this point. I think he's more of a specialist, but I think Derrick Henry is somebody you can return for some good value. And again, start thinking about your future. The last running back I want to talk about is going to be James Conner. I'm not saying he's 100% a fluke from last year. I mean, an amazing season. He was a Pro Bowler. He was just scoring touchdowns left and right. I don't see that repeating. I think he can get into the double digits, maybe 10 touchdowns into this season. But I think the value of why you're able to flip him, one, his age is obviously against him. He is right now, Dynasty running back 30. Chase Edmonds is gone, which helps, again, increasing James Conner value. So if you're not in a win now mode, you know you're not going to make it this year. James Conner is someone I could possibly add into a trade, maybe another pick or so, and start getting some higher draft picks, some better, younger talent. Maybe you need to target another receiver. Maybe you need to target, a young quarterback, something like that. Because right now, James Conner is not the James Conner when he was in the Steelers. He is definitely their goal line presence. He's definitely somebody that they're going to use for, third down to get those first yards. There's a lot of great opportunities with him. But again, if you're in a rebuild, he is somebody I'm absolutely selling. Obviously, we talk redraft. You might want to pick him up. I still wouldn't pick him in the first or second round, but he's definitely somebody that might get you some touchdowns and help you in those type of aspects. So those are my running backs that I'm looking to buy or sell depending on where my dynasty is at. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully this stuff was informative. If you guys do have other players that you think are some good buys or sells, again, hit us up in the comments down below. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you guys are notified every time we drop videos, whether it be for dynasty, rankings for rookies, NFL players now, and then of course when redraft comes up this season. If you guys do want any more questions for us, follow us on our socials, Twitter or Instagram. We'll always answer any question you guys have there, or just follow us to kind of keep up with the news, kind of see what we got going on outside of the YouTube channel. All right. So again, make sure you guys check that out. Make sure the notification bell is on because we'll be dropping some more videos like this for the other positions. And I'll catch you guys next time.